Hello indie game fan, here's another variety pack of upcoming indie games, beginning with AutoForge, a 2D side-scrolling factory builder that looks to be combining Terraria with Factorial. You're exploring a vast sandbox, venturing out for adventure, building out and automating your mining and crafting, and then researching new upgrades in order to get access to new regions, looking to have a compelling gameplay loop which I'm probably going to get sucked into. If you enjoyed any of those two earlier titles, I'm sure that this will be of interest since factory builders in themselves can be so horribly addictive in a good way, so if interested, check this out on Kickstarter. I often put out calls on Twitter to get developers to share their games so that they can get more visibility, where a game that caught my eye is Rogue Labyrinth, a narrative-focused action roguelite with a neat art style but mixed in with hand-drawn portraits that would not be out of place in a visual novel. It is an intriguing setting where your home country has been taken over by a billionaire who has constructed a labyrinth and filled it with monsters, where you have the opportunity to fight your way through it in order to become the monarch. In terms of combat, apparently the character comes built in with the ability to deflect enemy projectiles back at them, so it will be interesting to see what else they layer on, but where the more meta elements such as politicking and playing characters off against each other and earning the favour of the watching audience will be critical to your success. This video is brought to you by Heroes of Drakemire, an upcoming JRPG-style turn-based RPG that hits all of the right notes when it comes to a game in this genre, where you lead your party of heroes as the fate of the world hangs in the balance. This has your classic turn-based combat system with classic archetypes like warrior, healer, rogue, mage and more, where there are 6 playable characters that will join your party as well as plenty of variety in enemies and bosses. The turn-based combat system will be front and center, with plenty of strategic choices to make, as well as a bunch of skills and spells which you can train and upgrade for greater effectiveness. It is a pretty expensive game, projected to take around 30 plus hours to complete, with a large world to explore across multiple cities and locations. This is a labour of love from developers that grew up with the genre, with a setting and world inspired by European mythology and legends of knights, dragons and ogres, which is reflected in the enemies that you encounter. So if interested, wishlist the game on Steam and look forward to the release in January 2024.
I'm gonna be sore. Definitely not Kansas.
I have a couple of bigger games that have gotten updates as well, so I wanted to give them a mention, where Hellboy Web of Wyrd is exactly that, starring the iconic character but is a roguelite brawler instead. Of course, the art style is absolutely sick and mirrors the comics, where behind the back action roguelites are not that common at all, which makes this of interest.
I said stay down!
Our hero is searching for a missing agent of the BPRD, having to go deeper and deeper into the world in order to do so. And whether you're a fan of the comics or not, this should be a neat game. If you love roguelites like me, I'm pretty sure Metavoidal will be one to add to your wishlist, since this is a pixel art action roguelite with a music or rock and roll theme. You play as a drummer who is attempting to escape the clutches of a threatening metal band, where interestingly, this is melee focused, where you're using your drumsticks as weapons, but where you're able to collect records and lost music, build a playlist, and then to use the power of rock against your enemies. But crucially, this is not a rhythm game. There will be meta progression from run to run as you get progressively stronger, looking like it has potential and should be out next year. The developer of Chronomon did reach out to me, and of course I have to give this game a mention since it is a monster taming farming sim that mixes Pokemon with Stardew Valley. Now, I'm not the most impressed with the sprite work in this game as compared to Chronomon for example, but it does have its charm, and you may be wondering why the footage is square. Interestingly, it comes to us from a developer who primarily makes games for smartwatches, hence the chrono part in Chronomon, I think, but is also porting it to Steam and mobile. There's a monster ranging system, shinies, combat and more, looking like my kind of game, so if interested, hop on over to their Kickstarter campaign. Cooking and crafting have really gotten their tendrils into games of all kinds, but it's a welcomed addition if done right, so let's hope Delicious Dungeon has the right recipe when it comes to such a mixture. This is a top-down action-adventure game crossed with a simulation title where you're venturing out to fight monsters and to gather ingredients and then having to bring it back to your restaurant to cook up a feast for your customers, where it is certainly not a new concept in games since titles like Moonlighter have done something similar, but it still looks like it has potential. However, the animations do look a little rough in spots in this trailer, so let's hope it gets ironed out, where this is still supposed to be a 2023 release, but no specific date was given. I'm a big fan of the Sierra or Impressions city builder games like Referral, which was why I was excited to give the demo of SteamWorld Build a go earlier this year, and yes, it did get a release date in December as well. This is yet another entry in the SteamWorld universe where steam-powered robots take center stage, where the characters in this are attempting to escape to the stars away from a dying planet, prodded on by a not sinister at all otherworldly being, where you need to construct a mining town, go deep underground to retrieve resources and ancient technology, and to use that to build a rocket ship. It has a fascinating dual layer system where you have to build both above and below ground, where in the underground mines, elements like support columns need to be constructed to prevent a cave-in. There are also monsters that will emerge from the darkness which you need to fend off, tower defense style, as well as plenty of upgrades and optimizations to make, where I was very impressed with the demo and will be looking forward to the full game. One of the most insane Kickstarter campaigns that I have come across in quite a while is that of Loftia, a self-styled cozy MMO set in a warm solar punk world, where I don't believe there's really anything like this on the market, but the cozy vibes have certainly resonated with people. I guess the closest comparison would be Animal Crossing, with all the non-violent activities that you can do like farming and recycling, as well as character customization and player housing, but where it differs is the MMO aspect. Yes, indeed, the main goal here is to build a sustainable city together with the other players, where the entire game is set in a series of floating islands in the skies. In place of MMO combat, the developer talks about group quests as you explore the islands, tackle puzzles and grapple across terrain, with specific callouts to Fall Guys, It Takes Two and The Witness, so I'll be interested to see how much variety there will be in these activities. It has raised an astounding $823,000 as of recording, blowing well past their $150k target, where I do chalk it up to their social media presence, with the game going absolutely viral on TikTok. I'm pretty excited to share the news with you, since Rogue Labyrinth just got a release date for October, where this oddly minimalist turn-based RPG has definitely grown on me. Curiously, this mixes 2D platforming, where you're exploring the world, with epic, stylish turn-based combat, where if it wasn't obvious enough, it is set between physical and astral planes of existence. I think that this looks super neat, and from an earlier trailer, has an awesome level up screen as well, so be sure to wishlist this title. Like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night and Yuden Chronicle before it, the original creators behind a beloved Japanese game have taken to Kickstarter with Ratatan, the spiritual successor to Patapon, which is a beloved game on the PSP. This is a side-scrolling action strategy title with rhythm elements, where you're leading your troops to battle against enemies, but given how fondly people speak of Patapon, it's no surprise that this game has already raised more than $1 million, so check out their stretch goals and rewards on Kickstarter with a look at my favourite rhythm games in this video.